This School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 130-pound weight class and is brought to you by the Calgary Beacon, Calgary's only online daily newspaper. And now, let's meet the fighters. Heading out of Fort St. John, British Columbia, please welcome Robin Combs.
Robin Combs taking a page out of Dave Bootsfeld's fight, who fought in a couple Hard Knocks events, throwing some candy into the crowd as she makes her way to the cage.
Robin Combs fighting out of Fort St. John with Dragon MMA. Did a lot of kickboxing training, decided that MMA was the best place to try and advance that and move into a more well-rounded fight game. Says she has no specific game plan heading into tonight's bout, just wants to do her best.
Yeah, and she's coming up against an opponent in Chaleur Jones, who's also untested. We've seen the team from Dragon here at Hard Knocks several times. Good club, good friend of Hard Knocks Fighting Championship. They always bring fighters who are game to fight. Not necessarily the cleanest camp in terms of technical striking, but they have a very fit, very prepared team that always comes to mix it up. So it'll be very interesting to see her kickboxing background and see what the game plan is from the Dragon fighter.
Well, and she's only been training in MMA full-time since March, and a little bit of a question now about her ring attire. I believe the metal studs on the top support there. Yeah, we can see there shedding the top layer and getting down to just the one protective garment. But it looks as though the referee getting everything checked out, getting her into the cage. But again, 28 years old, she said there's a little bit of nerves as she steps into the cage. Says she's somewhat nervous about whether or not she'll be able to do this, and no better way to find out than to step in the cage against a live opponent.
In fact, the only way to really find out. I mean, there's one thing our experience at Hard Knocks has showed us is that over time, when that cage door closes, it's just different once you're in there.
Just waiting for Chaleur Jones to make her way out of the dressing room.
And fighting out of Calgary, this is Chaleur Jones.
Now, Chaleur Jones is someone I've had the chance to speak with a few times, and she is a very game fighter. She is not afraid of a fight. She's trained with a lot of strong male fighters in the past. She's been training for a few years now in different disciplines. She's got a background in some traditional martial arts. She's done some wrestling in her background, and she has been hoping to fight for a very long time. So I don't think nerves are an issue for her, but maybe a little extra excitement in wanting to get this done.
Well, and it's interesting, too, you mentioned her martial arts background, also a former ballerina, and not something I'm going to get to say about any of our other fighters on the card tonight, but says that the discipline of going through the ballet training, the balance that she's able to have, all of the things that you would think go into that level of dance, she's able to now translate those skills into MMA. She's got that good solid base. She is fighting independently, no affiliation with any gym. But she said she's ready to fight. She's ready to get going. and takes a jog around the cage before heading into her corner as Chaleur Jones gets set to fight Robin Combs in both of the ladies' amateur debut.
And now for the official fighter introductions. In the Blind Monk Urban Pub blue corner, she's 28 years old, stands 5 feet 5 inches tall. She weighed in at 129 pounds, fighting out of Dragon MMA in Fort St. John's. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Robin Combs.
And fighting out of the Two Amigos and Company red corner, she's 27 years old and stands 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighed in at 128 pounds, fighting independently out of Calgary. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Chaleur the Chainsaw Jones!
This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is John Brack.
Okay, ladies, you both know the rules here. I expect you to fight clean, fight fair, fight hard. Obey my commands, protect yourselves at all times. You're going to touch gloves, do it now. Good luck.
Well, Chaleur Jones certainly looking excited to get this fight going, and her opponent maybe looking a little less excited for the start of this fight, but we'll see what happens once the leather starts to fly.
Chaleur Jones in the black and black, blue and black for Robin Combs as they meet in the center of the cage and trade punches.
And Chaleur Jones certainly the more aggressive striker here, but Combs being the more effective one with those straight punches coming down.
Yeah, those punches do seem to be breaking through Chaleur's defenses, and now she catches a hand so she can quit eating those punches.
Chaleur Jones definitely not afraid to come forward, but she is overcommitting a bit, especially on that right hook, and she's turning her head, she's getting caught.
And gets caught again there. Very effective striking here early on from Robin Combs. As you can see, the face a little bit starting to take a bit of a beating there is Chaleur Jones.
You know, you see a difference in the power coming behind these punches. Something a little creative from Chaleur Jones, showing off that traditional martial arts turning back kick technique.
The spinning back kick, although again you need to be worried with those amateur rules about that kick getting up a little high.
And there's Chaleur Jones making a good attempt on that double leg. She came in well with it, but she didn't commit to driving through her opponent. And you can't shoot a leg attack at someone, you gotta shoot through them.
And the knees coming up now from Robin Combs as she has her in a fairly dominant position now up against the cage here right in front of us. And still trying to drive through, and now secures the takedown to Chaleur Jones.
And that takedown was successful because she drove her halfway across the cage to get it. And here's an armbar attempt.
She does have the arm secured, but I don't believe it's pointing the right direction.
And I think her elbow is past her hips. If you get that elbow pulled through past the hips, you're not going to be able to put pressure on it.
You can see her trying to pull the arm deep and secure the arm bar. Although, again, like you said, the elbow just about at the hips there of Combs.
And now that she's got it bent, all she's got to do is step that left foot back over. She'd be in side control.
She does take it out. Landing punches to the thigh. Her opponent and spins in and tries to lock in a choke. A very quick move there from Jones. Has her in a good spot with the back of Combs.
And Combs is actually working the wrong way. She should actually work back to her own back and then scoot her butt out to get out. A lot of fighters want to be on their hands and knees, but it's actually the harder place to fight, that back mount.
And you can see Jones continuing to ground and pound her opponent to the body and try and get some points in the judges' scorecards.
You know, and the two of the judges, at least tonight, have rewarded that. She's going to sit for the armbar, but her leg's caught in half guard there. She's not going to get that.
And that is the end of the first round. A bit of a back and forth battle as the early going controlled with the striking by Combs. Jones eating a couple punches, but managing to secure the takedown and land in a dominant position and use it, much unlike what we saw in the last one.
You know what, and I think maybe two of the judges here will probably disagree with me, but I'm going to give that round to Combs again, because though Chaleur Jones had a dominant position for a good portion of the round, Combs clearly dominant in the striking, landed heavy punches, did damage, and that already shows on Chaleur Jones's face. So I give that round 10-9 to Combs, and Chaleur Jones did take the fight to the ground, secured a takedown, but again, never got to a dominant position and threatened. She maybe had a chance at that choke, but never really got it deep and really threatened with it.
And you could see in that replay a couple times Jones would come in, but she'd come in with the body, trying to leave her head behind because she had eaten several punches. So it'll be interesting to see the strategy as they come out in the back in this half. I got to think if you're Robin Combs, you do not want the fight to go to the ground at this point.
No, there's a clear difference between who's comfortable on the ground and who's comfortable on their feet. Chaleur Jones looks comfortable on the ground, looked aggressive. She's aggressive on her feet as well, but she's losing every exchange. She does not have the power to strike with Combs. She's thrown some body shots that landed, but Combs didn't even blink.
Round 2 underway. Combs in the blue trunks again lands a punch to the face of Jones in the black. Coach is imploring Robin Combs to keep pushing, but at the moment she seems content to counterpunch anytime Jones gets close. She's eating a right or a left.
And you'll see that Chaleur Jones, she pumps that hand, and before she throws it, drops a little bit. And as a result, the counterpunch is landing every time.
Another right hand, but Jones continuing to come forward.
And, you know, when a fighter is dominant in the stand-up game, and they get focused on the stand-up because they're winning it, there's a chance for a takedown. I mean, she is leaving her feet behind, and it's there. There's the single leg attempt from Chaleur Jones, but she's got to stick to it. Get on that leg. Drive your opponent. You know, and there's an illegal strike to the back of the head, but it's during an exchange, so the referee's going to let it go, especially with Chaleur Jones turning her head so often during the exchange. That's going to be her responsibility to protect herself.
And you can see it almost every time she comes in. Her head spins a little bit and did back away from that punch. Again, another nice takedown defense from Robin Combs, and managed to punch the head of Jones from the side. Jones didn't even seem like she was in the right spot there.
You know, I'm going to give Combs a lot of credit here for being very patient with her striking game. She is winning this fight. She's got a chance to finish this fight with a knockout or a technical knockout, but she's not forcing it. She knows she's dominant, doing what she's doing, so no need to change the game plan.
And a huge right hand there, rocked Jones. Jones is spinning in circles, still intelligently defending, but it does not look like she is all the way there right now.
No, certainly rocked by these strikes and not working her game plan, which, as we discussed before, she's got to get back to the ground. That was where she finished the round, and she looked like she could control this fight. On her feet, she is clearly outmatched and does not have the power to be in this fight.
Well, and her hands are dropping, big gasping breaths. Those kicks are coming around with no energy on them. It looks at this point like Jones is out of gas, and Combs, on the other hand, stalking her, ready to throw combinations, landing punches at will, and Jones now trying a takedown out of desperation.
And pulling guard.
And pulling guard. Clearly Combs doing most of the damage here in round number 2.
But not a bad option for Chaleur Jones. You can shoot that takedown, and you've got a no-risk opportunity to pull guard because you're not going to get any striking on the ground.
Blood now coming from the nose of Jones. Again, those kicks not going anywhere. Bit of a trip there.
Is it a trip, or is she dazed and she's a little wobbly, having trouble with her balance?
I think at one point Combs may have stepped on Jones's foot as she was backing up. Nothing intentional, of course, but down went Jones, and you can see her bent over in the corner, taking some huge breaths, while on the other side, Combs looks calm, relaxed, and ready to come out for round number 3.
And you know, Combs is smart here. She does it. She's won the first 2 rounds of this fight. She's winning the striking battle.
Or at least we think so.
Or at least she thinks so. She's winning the striking battle. Chaleur Jones clearly does not have the power to knock her out, so she can afford to be in this fight for another round. And there's no need to push for the knockout when you can get it sticking with your game plan. And you get more ring experience, and your opponent, who apparently you're much fitter than, you're now controlling this fight from both a technical and a physical point of view. Wait for that knockout to come if it comes, and continue to dominate the fight on your game plan. You're going to get a lot of experience, and your opponent's only going to get more tired.
Well, and you can see through this replay, it's just, it almost looks like a greatest hits video at this point, as Combs is landing shot after shot after shot, and Jones, in the meantime, just staggering but still on her feet as Combs continues to land punch after punch. Not a great round there for Chaleur the Chainsaw Jones.
But she looks like she's collected herself during the break to a certain extent, still breathing hard, but she looks focused and she looks keen to get back in the fight. And you saw the referee checking with her to make sure she was prepared to fight between rounds, because that was such a dominant round. Very hard to get a 10-8 round, but I mean, that's fairly one-sided.
Third round now underway. Jones in the black, Combs in the blue, and Combs continues to stand up and throw punches. Jones is still moving forward into them and trying to make something happen.
I can't understand Chaleur Jones not pressing takedown, takedown, takedown. She did have a chance on that rear naked choke in the first round of the fight. I think you got to get back there if you're going to win this fight. She's not going to win this fight by knockout. You got to get this fight to the ground.
Yeah, she's going to have to work a submission here or manage to catch Combs on the button. Although when you look at Combs in a traditional boxer's stance, shoulders and hands protecting her chin on both sides, a very effective striking game thus far from Robin Combs.
And she's pumping the jab, nothing fancy. We've seen a lot of spinning attacks from Chaleur Jones, a lot of traditional style kicks. And from a martial arts perspective, Combs not getting drawn into that game of being a flashy striker. I'm going to win this with 1-2s and 1-1-2s, and it's paying off for her in dividends.
Well, and you can see Jones with a desperation takedown attempt there after eating several more punches, at one point turning her back to her opponent and running.
Yeah, and we saw some clean takedown attempts from Chaleur Jones in the first two rounds. That's broken down too. That takedown was ugly. It was a desperation grab at a leg, and probably rightfully so. She needs this fight on the ground.
I mean, full credit to Chaleur Jones too, because I know I would not be able to eat that many punches and keep coming forward. So clearly trying to make it happen is Chaleur Jones, but Robin Combs just very effectively pacing, waiting for Jones to come in, and then she just throws those jabs and crosses with very effective manner.
And you know what? Everything Combs is throwing is heavy when it lands. Even that jab is doing damage. She's not just putting it out there to range her opponent. She's got a good solid base under her. She plants her feet when she strikes. And even that jab is going to do damage and turn her head. And there's a body kick that, had she followed up with, probably would have ended the fight.
That bent Jones in half. Combs continuing to stalk her opponent and now looking maybe for the body shot to try and finish. Another kick to the midsection of a very game Chaleur Jones, but Robin Combs has everything going for her in the striking in this fight, as it's just punch after punch after punch landing on the face of Chaleur Jones.
Yeah, and Combs showing off some new technique. That's the first solid kick she's thrown and landed well. So being smart, that's another thing you can do when you're dominating a fight, is you can work things that aren't in your A game plan and make sure that they're effective for the next time you're out there to fight.
And just 10 seconds left, and that means Robin Combs is going to tee off. Chaleur Jones gets in tight. We thought we had the result of the last one. Turns out we didn't. If Robin Combs doesn't win this fight, I may have to give up this job.
Yeah, that's a clear win for Combs.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for the official decision, a special thanks goes out to Market Mall Eye Care,
just a
the official
dominant
optometrist
performance
for
from
School
start
Art
to
for
finish.
Knocks Fighters.
A brief
Their time
moment
and
with
commitment in
Chaleur
making
Jones
sure
at
all
the
of our
end of the
Calgary
first
Hard
round
Knocks fighters
on
remain
top of the
healthy
fighter.
is greatly appreciated by everyone at Hard Knocks Fighting.
And credit Chaleur Jones. for being a fighter. I mean, that's one thing she proved in that fight. She may not have had the power to strike with Combs, but she certainly had the heart to be in that fight for all 3 rounds. And it is hard to get up off that stool when you know you're in for another beating.
Well, and the chin too. Let's not forget the chin of Jones, because she ate several hard punches and just kept coming forward. So a very effective performance from Robin Combs, a very impressive debut when it comes to the heart and chin of Chaleur Jones. Maybe some more training and getting in and learning technique, and we could see a dominant fighter on the other side of the cage.
Yeah, and she'll have to work on putting some power behind those strikes. Sometimes the traditional martial arts are about landing a lot of hands, but they're not necessarily as heavy as those boxing strikes. And you got to mix it up a little bit and tighten it up to make sure that you're in for it. You can handle being in a longer fight with a lot of strikes in it.
The official decision is in, brought to you by the Calgary Beacon. The winner by unanimous decision in the blue corner, Robin Combs.
And we're back on the judge's good side, Mr. Ballantyne.
A big smile on the face of Robin Combs, deservedly so. Looked awfully
Robin, let's get you over
nervous
here for
at the
a quick
beginning.
interview.
And now we'll hear Jay interview the winner.
You get the feeling she might have been a little worried about going to
Jim's
scorecards
shirt
with the
on,
local
ready to
fighter.
go. Robin, what a battle. Now tell us, as this is your debut, what was your inspiration to get in the cage?
Just to try it out and have fun and
Get in there, and you've been training since March, is that right?
yeah.
Training real hard. Now, can you walk us through the fight here as Chaleur was coming into you? What were you going through in your head?
Just to watch and try and dodge her punches and throw a few in there.
Backing her up and keeping it hard. That's great. Let's hear it again for Robin Combs.
Thanks for all my sponsors and my coaches and my family for being here tonight and all the support. Thank you. And my opponent for showing up.
Again for Robin Combs.
You know, one thing I'll say about the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship, and I've been with it since the beginning, is we are seeing this organization grow, and at the same time we are seeing a growth in the skill of all the competitors. And to see one of the women's fights come out and see Robin Combs put on a technical display of boxing is a great thing to see for not just women's mixed martial arts, but mixed martial arts in this province.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot say enough about, especially the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship, bringing the women's bouts out. Calgary has a long history of women's martial arts. The Mike Miles Muay Thai always has female competitors on the card, so no stranger to female fighters here in the city of Calgary. And the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship continuing in that vein and finding good fighters. We did see a female pro fight at the last event that was very entertaining. I guarantee you will see Robin Combs here again in the cage, and you'll likely see Chaleur Jones as well, a game fighter. She provided an entertaining fight for the fans, and that's one thing that the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship values amongst all else, is entertaining the fans, entertaining the crowd, and putting on a good fight. So while she may not have had the most technical fight in the world, and you can see there with the weak takedown attempts towards the end of the fight, she was still game. She came out for 3 rounds. There was no quit, and despite the amount of punishment she took, she kept coming forward.